edition, Mr. Irrelevant, presented by Door County Distillery, with you live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios at the Avenue, beautiful downtown Milwaukee, at ESPN Milwaukee. Joshie DiMaggio here as well. Intern Will has returned. I told him to shut the hell up last week. I didn't get fired, and Will came back. That's good news. Tiny Hands, Hunter Vaughn, back at the Everlight Solar Studio in downtown Madison, where I will be on Monday. Looking forward to being reunited in the Everlight Solar Studio with Tiny Hands next week. Big show today. Lots to get into. That had to be the most active Tuesday in the NFL since last year's trade deadline. So much happened yesterday in the NFL, including the Packers signing kicker Brandon McManus, Davante Adams traded to the Jets. We will eventually talk about Amari Cooper being traded to the Browns. A lot of action in the NFL yesterday, which we will dive into. Also want to preview Packers-Houston a little bit before Friday's show. It's a sexy matchup, man. I mean, this is a big game for two teams that I think are tied together quite a bit. So we will dive into that a bit coming up. Bobby Portis Jr. from the Milwaukee Bucks. Got to talk to him a couple of weeks ago, so we will listen to that. About 6-minute conversation before we wrap up the show as well today. So lots to get into. Bobby Portis, Davante Adams, Brandon McManus, all the in-betweens. We will also play a game of one word ahead of Week 7 in the NFL. Joshie, I believe, has come up with a list of banned words that I cannot use in one word coming up later. So we will review that list prior to one word as well. But let's dive into the big story. That, of course, is the Packers kicking situation. The rookie kicker experiment over and done with. Kaput, over, done. Fantastic news out of Green Bay. And you never root for anybody to lose their job, but this is the right move on the football field. Brayden Narveson, who was 12 of 17 on field goals through 6 weeks, yucky, is released after 6 games as a Green Bay Packer. You went through an entire season plus 2 playoff games with a rookie kicker in Anders Carlson last year. You did the preseason, maybe he's still our guy, maybe thing with Anders Carlson. You cut him on cutdown day. You signed Brayden Narveson. Narveson, fine, not good through 6 games. And it's a move that reeks of desperation for a team that acknowledges where they're at. Right? The Green Bay Packers understand, especially after the can of whoop-ass they opened on the Arizona Cardinals this past weekend. They understand they are championship good. They are Super Bowl good. And they cannot even take the chance of losing a game because your rookie kicker is not used to the light shining that bright. You can't trot out a guy out there who doesn't understand the moment or hasn't been in the moment. You bring in now a guy in Brandon McManus, who obviously went through kind of a tumultuous offseason and beginning of the regular season due to some legal issues that the NFL ultimately cleared last week, who was kicked in a Super Bowl. He won a Super Bowl. He won Super Bowl 50 with the Denver Broncos. Spent 9 years in Denver, spent last season in Jacksonville. He's kicked in big games. He's been reliable. He's been consistent, especially within 40 yards. This is what you need. This is the home run swing you needed. Now, does this solve your issues for years and years to come? Probably not. I would guess this is a Band-Aid for the remainder of this season, and then you try again next year. But the Packers realize they are good enough to compete for a Super Bowl this year. They're playing in the best division in football, the NFC North, which of course includes the really good Detroit Lions team, the undefeated Minnesota Vikings, and a Bears team that's playing really well, right? They're 4-2 through 6 weeks. So as you continue to look at this thing, the Packers are not only in a position in the NFC where, yeah, they're competing for Super Bowl. They're playing in the toughest division in football. They still have 6 games on their schedule against teams that would be playoff teams if it started today, all within the NFC North. So minimize mistakes, minimize losing opportunities. Bring in a kicker who's done it before. That's what the Packers do yesterday with the signing of Brandon McManus. The legal stuff, obviously not ideal, but the NFL says it's okay, and on paper, it is an upgrade at the position. It is an upgrade in terms of your football team. That's the part I care about. The legal stuff, yeah, maybe it doesn't make you feel the best. Maybe you feel a little gross reading the allegations that were brought against Brandon McManus. I don't disagree with that at all. But in terms of a football move, it is the right football move, and it is a good football move. It is an upgrade at that position. We said it all offseason, right? When the Packers moved on from Aaron Jones to bring in Josh Jacobs, we said all offseason, they undeniably upgraded at running back. So today you can say the Packers undeniably upgraded a kicker. Despite maybe the optics of it, it's an undeniable upgrade for a guy career-wise is over 81% kicker. I think I saw the stat on Twitter, and I forgot who tweeted it, so apologies for not attributing this. But he's 60 of 62 on field goals within 40 yards and extra points over the last, it's either year or two. So that should make you feel really good, because that's a lot better than numbers you've seen the last year and a half between Anders Carlson and Brayden Narveson. You never root for somebody to lose their job, but the Packers are a better football team today than they were yesterday. And I think that's the important part of it. Again, I say the Packers are a better football team today than they were yesterday. And that's what you should care about as a Packers fan. You can trust your kicker, we think. Hopefully he doesn't biff one this weekend against Houston when he makes his Packers debut. But all in all, the Packers got better, and that's what I care about. So that's the good news. Brandon McManus, the new Packers kicker, as of this weekend. Brayden Narveson cut. Alex Hale still on the practice squad. He's their international player. Maybe he's the answer down the line. But for now, it's McManus, and it will be McManus' job unless he somehow loses it the remainder of the regular season. But I would guess this will be the final kicker conversation in terms of free agent ads or going in a different direction that we have until the offseason. Which, all in all, I'm very happy about. Because, Joshy and Hunter, I'll pull you in here. I don't remember talking this much about the kicker position ever. Right? It is debatably the least consequential position on the football field. And you only talk about it if it's bad. And for the last year and a half now, we have strictly talked about it because it's bad. And now the Packers go out and take the swing on a veteran who's proven himself for over a decade in the NFL. I just hope to God we're done talking about it, Joshy.
Yeah, I wanted the kicker conversation to be done in the summer. I have no interest in talking about the kicker because it is so binary. Your guy makes them or he misses them.
Yeah.
There is no real evaluation. There's nothing really here. Either you have a guy who's capable or you have a guy who is not capable. And that's what makes it so frustrating, is like, what are we supposed to say about a kicker? Narveson's not good enough. Anders Carlson wasn't good enough. Hopefully the new guy that they're bringing in with McManus is good enough. The last time I remember talking about the kicker this much was the Mason Crosby year.
Yeah.
Where it seemingly he could not make a kick to save his life.
Didn't he have that awful game in Detroit? Didn't he miss like 4 of them?
Yeah, and the Giorgio Tavecchio
I remember that summer, yeah.
Yeah, so other than that, no. And most places don't talk about kickers because they generally have them and keep them. Obviously, you have to replace some. The Packers went out and decided we're done with Mason Crosby before Mason Crosby was done with football. And to this point has been a mistake. It
has been a ginormous mistake. And you know, the joke I've seen circulate the internet 100 times is the Packers had a harder time replacing Mason Crosby than they did Aaron Rodgers. Joshy, I'm shocked in that little soliloquy you just went on. You didn't bring up my take from the day they signed Brayden Narveson, which is when I said famously, quote, they've got a kicker.
Yeah, that's been well trodden. The loyal listeners of Mr. Irrelevant, I'm sure, remember that because we spent way too much time on it that day. Yeah. And frankly, if I were to self-evaluate all the content we do here on ESPN Wisconsin, we've all spent way too much time talking about the kicker. I do feel better. I don't know if I'll say good. I do feel better about the situation in terms of this is what it is, and I think the conversation stops here.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I mean, unless he totally biffs it, like I said this weekend against Houston. Unless he totally... unless he misses 3 kicks, right? Like, right. We're done talking about it.
Yes.
Now, it's funny you say that because we have spent so much time talking about kickers the last few months. But I think some of the more memorable things we've discussed, or maybe some of the more memorable takes we have come from this conversation. Of course, mine saying, regrettably, we've got a kicker with Brayden Narveson, which clearly they did not. Hunter also, during training camp, kept railing on the Packers for having 2 kickers in camp. Well, really 3 for most of camp. Hunter was like, yeah, that's a mistake. You either sign a guy and you like him or you get rid of him and you try again. Hunter, do you feel vindicated today? Now that the Packers have moved on from Brayden Narveson?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, one, this is the way you should go about it. And two, like, had they gone about this from the start, I think some of this is in a better spot. I mean, McManus is going to be better for the Packers inside 50 yards. Like, I think you're reliable there. Any kick over 50 yards, though, that's where it gets really iffy for me. And that's going to be tough. And I think game plan is going to be different for the Packers still. Even with a new kicker now, I think until they get to a spot where it's a inside 50-yard field goal, they're going to be going for it on fourth down because they just don't trust it, and they would rather see if they can get a touch. I think game plan changes.
Maybe this weekend,
Nah,
but I don't think long term.
He's pretty bad from long distance.
Over 49, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, how often are the Packers kicking a 54-yard field goal
I would prefer
anyway?
my team never kick 50-plus yarders.
I'm with you.
Obviously, there's situations, end of game, end of half, where it's a necessity. But if this forces the Packers to be more like Dan Campbell, more aggressive, and more trying to just get closer and closer,
now, hold
I
on.
want to do that.
That's an interesting thought. And I know you're referring to that specific philosophy of going for it more often on fourth down and going for two, et cetera. Do you want Matt LaFleur to be more like Dan Campbell overall?
No. I'm talking strictly in terms of aggressiveness on fourth down because Dan Campbell does make some bad decisions on fourth down, but teams and the NFL is still way behind on how aggressive you should be on fourth down once you reach that sort of middle of the field mark. Like they're still way too conservative. Matt LaFleur has been weirdly conservative at times, and strangely in like big moments where you wouldn't expect it.
Yeah, I mean the Tampa Bay game is the one that's always highlighted, right? Make a two-score game a two-score game.
You gotta do it.
Gotta do it. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Well, that's our kicker talk for the day as the Packers sign veteran kicker Brandon McManus to a one-year deal. We've made it how long now? We've made it 13 minutes into the show. Not either of you have referenced the jersey I'm wearing today. So this week is Truth Week, our sister station 101.7 The Truth. Obviously tomorrow is 10/17, the date 101.7. So tomorrow's Truth Day, but they're doing theme days every day here at Good Karma Brands. And today I am wearing a Lithuanian basketball jersey by our good friend Ben Brust. I don't know what the name of the team is. I don't know how to say it, but he texted me last night and he said, "Hey, you want to wear my Lithuanian basketball jersey?" So I said, "Yeah, I do actually." So here we are. So I'm wearing a Ben Brust Lithuanian basketball jersey for any of those curious on that one. All right, let's go to the other big news. Go ahead, Hunter. Sorry.
I was just going to say, like, honestly, I've just given up on, like, addressing things with you. Like, you're going to do weird stuff. I just kind of go with it. Otherwise, the whole show gets derailed and things go south really quick. So I was just going to let it go. But you had to bring it up because heaven forbid the show with your name on it doesn't bring more attention to you.
Sometimes I just treat you like a child if you ignore their bad behavior.
Hold on. Well,
exactly.
There was a key word there that's just factually incorrect. You said sometimes I treat you like a child. Josh, you treat me like a child always.
No, not all the time. Sometimes I'll let you wear your big boy pants.
Okay.
You're still in what is it in between diapers and then there's that middle stage? What are those?
Potty training?
No, there's like the pull-ups that the big kids wear pull-ups thing. Yeah, you're in pull-ups. So sometimes I let you go potty all by yourself. Other times we got to clean up after you.
Now, will I ever graduate to fully potty trained?
Well, we'll see.
I feel like the odds of that are slim to none.
Well, how does it benefit me is the other important question.
Oh, don't do that. You're not one of those guys, are you? Are you one of those guys that if you can't do something for me, I don't have much time for you?
No, I'm saying benefit me in terms of can I make fun of you and laugh?
Yeah, and the answer probably always to that question will be yes.
Yeah, so you're gonna be pull-ups.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Won't argue with that. All right, let's get to the other big news of the NFL yesterday. Davante Adams officially traded from the Las Vegas Raiders to the New York Jets, obviously reuniting him and his former quarterback in the Green Bay Packers uniform. That would be Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams reunited at the Jets. So I have a lot of mixed feelings on this because the Jets played Monday Night Football this week against the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, that's a rematch, and again, it was at MetLife of Week 1 from last year when Rodgers tore his Achilles and ended up missing the remainder of last season. So, obviously there was a lot that went into that game, right? Knowing the matchup, knowing the scenario, knowing it's Monday Night Football. It's a national spotlight. It's the only game on. But man, did I find myself cheering for Aaron Rodgers on Monday. Right? He has a couple vintage Rodgers moments. Like there's a few throws he made. We go, whew. There's one guy that can make that throw. And it's Aaron Rodgers, right? The end of half Hail Mary, the second half pass to Allen Lazard, which obviously was a little bit lucky, but like the tightest of tight windows, Lazard falls on his back and comes up with it. And it's reminiscent of so many things you saw during his 15-plus year tenure in Green Bay. It was, it was hard to watch that and not root for him because it's just so recognizable and so reminiscent. Joshy and I have talked about it before. Like the longest relationship I know in my life is Aaron Rodgers as the Green Bay Packers quarterback, right? Like, it's just the truth. And I as much as I don't like the things he says off the field and some of the nonsense he brings to the locker room, which luckily I don't have to deal with anymore, right? You saw the eye rolls during the game. You saw him throw Mike Williams under the bus after the game on Monday. I don't miss that. But damn, is it entertaining. And so anyway, I say that because Monday night I found myself rooting for the Jets and Aaron Rodgers against the Bills. In a game I really don't have a rooting interest. Allen Lazard's there. Joe Tippmann, the former Badgers center, is there. Braylon Allen, the former Badgers running back from Fond du Lac, is there. They now add Davante Adams, who I've always appreciated, respected, and loved as a football player. It's kind of, and I love that this circus isn't my circus, but yeah, I'm finding myself rooting for the Jets a little bit when they're playing football. A, because of the reminiscent factor. I'm sitting here reminiscing on the good old days, if you will, even though the Packers are still in the good old days. And I don't have to deal with the repercussions as a fan. So I'm rooting for Davante and Aaron to provide some awesome moments, and they're 2-4. Are they going to make the playoffs? Probably not. And if they do, sure, I'll still root for them unless they're playing the Packers.
You sound like you're
watching it. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, you sound like you're hung up on your ex while you're married. Like, yes. Dude, move on. You got your franchise quarterback. Like, what are we doing?
I'm moved on. I didn't say I'm.
As you just spent how many minutes talking about him and how much you miss those moments. Like, you're stalking your ex on Instagram still.
No, I don't think that's accurate.
I think that's accurate.
I don't,
clearly.
Yeah, clearly. Got that. Thanks. I don't think it's the right analogy, right? We've used the X analogy so many times to describe Aaron Rodgers leaving. I think if he would have played all of last year, maybe, if I was saying this last year, then, and the Packers obviously started the season really rough last year, and if I'm peeking over at the Jets and Rodgers is healthy and he's playing well, yeah, maybe it fits. But I have no worries about the Jets. They're not going to make the Super Bowl. The Packers might. Like, I legitimately think they're real contenders. I don't think the Jets are going to make the playoffs. They don't play the Packers this year. It more feels like my cousin that's been dissociated from the family. I'm just watching from afar, and I'm like, yeah, good for you.
I'm interested that you find that wistfulness and that intrigue in it, because when I watch it, I feel profoundly sad.
Why sad?
Because Aaron Rodgers clearly isn't the quarterback he once was.
No, he's not.
And his limitations are some not totally in his control. He's not as fast. He's not as accurate all the time. He doesn't seem to be as processing as fast as he used to be. And I feel like I'm watching the shell of the guy that used to blow my brains every time he just absolutely blow me away with the way he performed. Now he's still right. I think Aaron Rodgers at 55 could make some of those throws. He's still without a pass rush, he's going to be able to fit us in the tightest windows.
So real quick on that, right? Like the tightest windows, but also the ease for him.
Yeah.
I don't think any other quarterback can flick the wrist the way he does and throw the ball 65 yards down the field. Love's done it. I mean, Love might be the only other quarterback that can do it. Mahomes maybe too, but there are very few quarterbacks that can just go boop, And that ball's floating 65 yards down the field. Obviously, on the Hail Mary throw this past week, and this is probably to your point, I mean, it looked a lot like some of his past Hail Marys, where he's stepping on the back foot, and he's lowering the shoulder, and he's just throwing it as high as he can. But sometimes when it's those bullets, it's just flick of the wrist, boom. And that won't get old to me.
Yeah, and there's just it doesn't feel the same. And the other part is obviously my distaste for Aaron Rodgers. The fact that as much as he tries to act like he's changed since leaving Green Bay, he still has those same bad habits and the same habits that affect his teammates. Like going out and blasting Mike Williams for running the wrong route. Aaron Rodgers was probably right on that, but he also lied about the way he saw it and made a bad throw. Mm-hmm. That was still the result of it. Like, why was the ball short and not to Mike Williams, even if he was running the wrong route? He said he wasn't looking over there. He was staring down Mike Williams. Like, that stuff is the stuff that's like, you want to project different, but you aren't.
Yeah.
And that makes me also sad because you're living a lie.
Yeah. Well said, actually. Yeah. I just...
But, like, I understand
I can separate the off the field and on the field.
Yeah, but I think a lot of that stuff's on the field.
You're right.
Yeah. And I think that's obviously, like, he changed his attitude when he went to Jets, but it was only the public attitude because when the game's on the line and, like, it matters, he falls back into his old habits, the ones that drove us all nuts. Like, you don't need to tell us Amari Rodgers isn't very good. We saw it. We're watching.
Yeah, and he killed his confidence.
Yeah.
Right? I think Amari's not even in the league anymore.
No.
I think he's probably still in the league had Rodgers been a better mentor to him or a better coach. But this goes back to what I said earlier, Joshy, in Hunter, right, who called me the jealous ex. It's not my circus anymore.
No.
I don't have to worry about the in-between BS that's happening from Sunday to Sunday. The only thing I care about when it comes to the Jets is if they're on and I can watch them, and I know I think they play Sunday night this week, I'm going to watch them, and I'll probably root for them.
Yeah, I've gotten to the point where I'll watch a little bit, and then...
Did you turn it off on Monday?
Yeah, oh yeah. I wasn't that interested.
What did you choose over Monday Night Football?
Sleep.
Oh, you just went to bed?
Yeah.
Did you see the Hail Mary?
Yes, I did watch that.
And that was a sweet moment.
And
There wasn't even a part of you that went, okay. I mean, come on.
The part was amazement. Like, how does he keep doing this?
It's 4 of them.
It doesn't make sense.
Hail Marys for touchdowns
That is
and MVPs.
Stuff, there are still moments where I'm like, whew, look at that. But that's the one I can't figure out because Hail Marys are Hail Marys. Obviously, you have to get the ball there.
There is such an element of luck involved.
Right, but somehow he's always throwing it to a guy that somehow can come down with it. It doesn't make sense.
And I like that particular Hail Mary was fun for me because they paid homage to the Hail Mary, right?
Yes.
The first official says not a catch, and then the second official comes in and waves the touchdown. Obviously, another hilarious moment of Aaron Rodgers' career. But yeah, all in all, I'm rooting for Davante. I would love to see some revitalization out of him. I still think he can be a top receiver in the league, even as he gets older. This offense is now stacked. Like, there's no excuses for this offense anymore.
No.
When you have Garrett Wilson, Davante Adams, Allen Lazard, who's played well this season, and Mike Williams, who probably won't have another target in his career.
He's going to get traded.
Yeah, you're probably right. But then Breece Hall and Braylon Allen as a 1-2 punch out of the backfield isn't too bad. It's an interesting offense.
Yeah, their big issue is the O-line. I mean, Rodgers said it on the McAfee show. Taking some hard hits, and they hurt a lot more at 40 than they did at 25. The book on him is very clear right now. I believe the Vikings blitzed him at a near 50% rate. And now the Vikings blitz more than most teams.
Right.
But it's very obvious if it's not the Aaron Rodgers where he would make you pay when he blitzed. He can't extend plays the way he used to. He still is obviously capable. He's still like an athlete, but it's not the same.
But he's right. It's 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers.
Right,
this isn't 28-year-old Aaron
And
Rodgers.
I think as the season continues, that's going to be a thing that is going to wear on him the longer he has to take it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Hey, I want to run this past you, Joshy. Roberto chiming in on the ESPN Milwaukee YouTube chat line. What did you say? Sup to Roberto?
Yeah.
Sup, Roberto? He ponders a trade that he believes the Packers should make. He wants Max Crosby from the Raiders.
Okay.
Right, obviously, if you watched Receiver on Netflix last year, you would learn Max Crosby and Davante Adams referred to one another as twins. They're very tight, very close. I would imagine Max Crosby probably not thrilled with the situation going on in Las Vegas. He says, I would like to trade Romeo Doubs, Preston Smith, and a 5th-round pick for Max Crosby.
Yes, the Las Vegas Raiders would laugh us out of the room and go, why the hell would we ever do that?
Yep.
They're going to want like a 1st-round picks from Max Crosby. Romeo Doubs, why would they want Preston Smith? Just a body? Just a guy?
Yeah, probably just to replace him on the edge. I don't know. Of course I'm open to it, right? Like it's a little bit a reminder of when the Bears traded for Khalil Mack.
Yeah.
But that was in the offseason.
Correct.
As we approach the trade deadline, I don't know if Crosby's available. If the Packers wanted to make him run at him, I wouldn't be mad about it. But we have to acknowledge the Packers are already paying a ton of money to the edge rushers.
Mm-hmm.
The one who's on the milk carton is Rashawn Gary.
I believe I have this correct. They have the most expensive defense in the league.
The Packers?
Yeah.
I didn't know that, but I mean, when you start thinking about it, right?
Yeah,
Rashawn Gary, Kenny Clark, Jair Alexander, Xavier McKinney.
All guys paid near the top at their positions.
It would add up.
Yeah.
Ooh. When you think about a defense like San Francisco, you would think they might be up there. They might be number 2 or number 3. But
yeah,
that's a defense that can do a lot more damage than the Packers defense, despite how impressive they've been through 6 games. Last week was outside of Tennessee, but Tennessee's so inept on offense. It's their best performance of the year, right? 3 fumbles against an Arizona offense, minimizing the rushing attack. There's no Marvin Harrison for pretty much the entirety of that game, so obviously you would have liked to see what he could do against this Packers defense, but you got to feel really good about where this defense is at, despite the lack of pass rush. No sacks in that game again. And Kyler Murray's mobile and he's elusive and he can escape some of the situations. But all in all, this Jeff Hafley-led defense has been really good. And it seems like it's getting better. And turnovers have been what they've emphasized and talked about, and they are producing in that category. So all in all, you feel good about that. All right, I do want to talk about Green Bay and Houston a little bit, which is coming up on Sunday at Lambeau Field. This is a really intriguing matchup. Joshy and I did a schedule release show earlier in the year on ESPN Milwaukee, and we kind of did a segment, him and myself and Gabe Neitzel, and we circled games that pique our interest the most. All 3 of us circled this game as one of our top 3. San Francisco's a big one. Miami on Thanksgiving seemed a little bit sexier than it does now, obviously, with everything going on with Tua. But you feel really, really interested to see the outcome of this game on Sunday. So we will get into that coming up next. But first, got to tell you about my friends at Door County Distillery. Locally produced, handcrafted, award-winning spirits made locally in beautiful Door County. Oh, man, that bourbon is so good. I just got a fresh bottle of it. It's so good. Door County Distillery bourbon. Whiskey season is football season for me. They line up together. Love the Door County Distillery bourbon. Rye whiskey also really good. Not the biggest rye whiskey fan in the world, but Door County's is supreme. I really, really enjoy it. And then their 27-time gold medal award-winning single malt whiskey on ice, in a mixer, whatever you want. And then all the in-betweens, right? They've got vodkas, they've got rums, they've got brandies, they've got that classic green bottle of gin. Door County Distillery, it's local, it's affordable, it's award-winning. It is better than everything else. DoorCountyDistillery.com is the website to find the nearest retailer by you, and a huge list of unique cocktail recipes. If you're watching on the video stream, you can also scan the QR code on the screen to bring you to that huge list of unique cocktail recipes. The Apple Butter Bourbon Fizz, fall in a glass. We'll teach you how to make it right now. It's Mr. Irrelevant. I'm Alex Strouf.
Happy spooky season. What's the best drink this October? My friends at Door County Distillery are going to teach me how to make it.
Fall in a glass. It's the Apple Butter Bourbon Fizz from Door County Distillery. All you got to do is scoop apple butter into a cocktail shaker, take 2.5 ounces of your bourbon, shake that, strain that, and then fill the rest of the cup with ginger beer. And if you like to, which I like to, dash a little cinnamon on top of that. Boom, shakalaka, you've got the Apple Butter Bourbon Fizz from Door County Distillery.
Cheers, the Apple Butter Bourbon Fizz. I'm not going to say it 5 times fast. There's like a apple cider taste to it.
Apple cider vibes, yeah.
That's like corn maze for adults drink. Is what that tastes like.
Check out their website with a huge list of unique cocktail recipes at DoorCountyDistillery.com. That's DoorCountyDistillery.com. DoorCountyDistillery.com is the website. Yeah, this matchup this weekend, man, is really going to be a fun one. CBS has their A-team on it. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo coming to Green Bay on Sunday. So I said it at the top of the show, and I've said it before. I said it last year a lot about these two teams. These are two teams that are going to be compared to each other for a long time. Right, so last year, you have first-year starting quarterbacks. Obviously, C.J. Stroud ended up winning Rookie of the Year. Jordan Love was phenomenal and signed a massive paycheck after last season. What he was able to do. They were two teams with low expectations. Nobody really knew what to expect. They get into the postseason. They win in the wild card round, both of them, Houston and Green Bay, and ultimately fall in the divisional round. So that's just the beginning of the chapters for these teams' turnarounds, right? Houston's going to be a powerhouse in the AFC South for years to come, while C.J. Stroud is their quarterback, and DeMeco Ryans has done a phenomenal job as a head coach over there. Green Bay now knows who their future quarterback is. It's Jordan Love. They have their franchise guy, and I think Stroud and Love, given that they had the same year where they rose to the border of superstardom, are going to be tied together. But defensively, right, it's teams that had question marks, and they upgraded their defenses in the offseason. Daniil Hunter now rushing the edge coming off the edge for Houston, acquired him from Minnesota. You look at Green Bay, right? You add a safety like Xavier McKinney to bring some of that turnover juice to your defense. There are so many parallels between these two teams who both have championship hopes. Right, these are two teams that want to prove last year wasn't a fluke. And so far through 6 weeks, both of these teams have proved last year wasn't a fluke. But we have to keep in mind, when you look at teams that the Green Bay Packers have beaten this year, right, think about the wins the Packers have on their schedule. It is the Indianapolis Colts, the Tennessee Titans, the Los Angeles Rams, and the Arizona Cardinals. Not very good teams. Right, these are teams that are going to be thinking about top 10 picks in the NFL draft this year. And so that, I think, makes you go, I still need a win where you sell me that you're that good. Houston at least has their win over Buffalo. They're 5-1. They have wins over Indianapolis, who the Packers also have a win over. The Chicago Bears, they might be a fluke, despite being 4-2. The Jags stink. They have a 4-point win over them. They have a 3-point win over Buffalo, and they smoked New England in Drake May's first start this past week, 41-21 over the Patriots. So at least the Texans have convincing wins. Buffalo is a convincing win. That's a really good team. Green Bay doesn't have that convincing win yet. They're 2.5-point favorites. They're at home on Sunday. They have the opportunity for a convincing win. The last 2 weeks, which were both wins, Rams and Cardinals, those were wins where you look at them and go, hey, if you're the team we think you are, you should win these games big. And they did. Maybe not the Rams game big, but they won it convincingly. And the Cardinals game, it was all Packers all the time. It was one of those stress-free watches. You usually don't get those in an NFL season. When you're a fan of a good team in the NFL, you might get 1, 2, maybe 3 at best, quote-unquote, stress-free watches. That Arizona game was a stress-free watch. You never thought the game was in doubt. You knew the Packers were going to win from the first quarter until the final whistle. That ain't what you're getting this weekend against the Houston Texans. You're going to be stressed out watching this one because Houston's going to punch you in the mouth. And you have to be a team that responds to getting punched in the mouth by punching them right back. As the great wrestling announcer Jim Ross famously said, we want to see a good old-fashioned slobber knocker this weekend between the Packers and the Texans. That's what you want to see. Because these are two teams, as I mentioned multiple times, that have championship expectations. And this would be a good sign for both teams. If it's 31-28 final score, and even if you're on the losing end, and then you walk away going, okay, we still scored 28 points. We kept up with them. If we would have played a fifth quarter or an overtime period, it's anybody's game. It feels like one of those games. I think the Packers are going to win because they're on their home field, but I think it's going to go back and forth, and you might need to see some clutch Jordan Love moments. You might need to see some ingenuity and some creativity from Matt LaFleur offensively when it comes to the play calling and the play design. Defensively, you're going to need to turn the ball over or create some turnovers. Make C.J. Stroud turn the ball over. It's a really fun matchup. Really fun matchup. Excited to see how that one plays out. We will dive deeper into that matchup coming up on Friday's edition of Mr. Relevant beginning at 12:30 Central Time. All right, let's play some one word heading into the 7th week of the NFL season. Already week 7 of the NFL season. Hunter has come up with about 10 prompts for me. Tiny Hands has. But before we get to the 10 prompts, Joshy has created a list of banned words I cannot use in one word. Joshy, the floor is yours.
Yeah, this is prompted by last week when you responded to the Seahawks with interesting.
Yeah, that was a cop-up.
Which is basically you saying nothing at all, but just using a word. So this list might be a little exhaustive. We might have to negotiate some of these off. So I've got interesting.
Fine with that.
Maybe.
I'm okay with that.
Intriguing.
Okay.
So.
I have never used that.
Fascinating.
Yeah, that's fair.
Impressive.
Oh, okay.
And then rattle these off. Fine, good, bad, okay.
I think I can live with that.
And the last one, this is an addition from young intern Will back here. Frisky. He wants no more frisky.
Will? It's one of my good words.
Will's coming after you.
Will? All right. Will, just a shake of the head. Does the word frisky make you uncomfortable? No?
He says he loves the word frisky.
But why can't I use it if you love the word frisky?
He just wants to challenge you. He wants the best out of you.
You know what? I appreciate that. You're elevating my game. Thank you, intern Will. All right, Hunter, let's play some music. Let's play one word ahead of the Week 7 start tomorrow on Thursday Night Football in the NFL. A lot of headlines to get through. A ton of stuff has happened in the last few weeks, or a few days, in the NFL. So I'm intrigued to see what Hunter came up with. I cannot use the words interesting, maybe, intriguing, so, fascinating, impressive, fine, good, bad, okay, or frisky. That is an exhaustive list.
I think we're going to get the best out of you.
I think so, too. Let's go, Hunter.
Amari Cooper traded to the Bills.
Upgrade.
MVS cut by the Bills.
Sinatra. New York, New York.
Tom Brady, Raiders owner.
Legacy.
Cam Akers traded to the Vikings.
Acronym IDK. I didn't know this until you just said that. Cam Akers is a Viking?
Yep.
Okay, I missed that one. IDK.
Jerry Jones losing his mind on the radio.
Accurate? I mean, is anybody surprised by that?
No. Nick Sirianni yelling at Eagles fans.
Dysfunctional.
Tool.
Also that.
Yeah. Saquon Barkley doesn't expect to be booed at MetLife Stadium this week.
Delusional.
Broncos at Saints Thursday Night Football.
See, Will. Sexy.
No.
It's kind of sexy.
That is not a sexy game.
So last week I dubbed the Packers and Cardinals game as the points game. Going to be a lot of points. Points. I said it on like every show I appeared on.
Yes.
I said it on Mr. Relevant. I said it on KBN. I said it on Green Bay Game Day. Am I missing anything? I think I said it on more shows than that. Points. I think you're going to see points in the Thursday night game.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game.
You know how good Denver's defense is?
New Orleans isn't bad
Do you know
either.
who the quarterback is in New Orleans?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Derek Carr's out again, isn't he?
Spencer Rattler, who looks
Mr.
fairly
3
decent.
INT.
Yeah, he did last week.
I think both of those teams want to score as little points as possible and try and grind the clock out.
Yeah, fair.
You could have gone rookies there.
Rookies.
Youngsters.
Ooh, I like youngsters. Toddlers. Pull-ups.
Whippersnappers.
Pull-ups. Diapers.
The youths. I've got two more. Dual Monday Night Football this week. Ravens at Bucks. Chargers at Cardinals.
Challenging. I don't love the dual Monday Night Football slates. I only have one TV in my living room because I'm a normal person.
Tell you what I do like them for.
Yeah, underdog.
Some underdog drafts.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that is the positive.
Yeah.
I can mix it up a little bit, flip back and forth. Yeah, that Ravens at Bucks game is really, really fun. I will probably strictly watch that one. I might flip over to Chargers and Cardinals, but The Ravens and Bucks is a sneaky, fun matchup. So I would go challenging just because that's a lot of work on my end. I got to use the remote a lot.
Oh, you poor thing. One last one. Chiefs at 49ers is a bigger game than the Packers-Texans game this week.
Correct. I would agree with that. Yeah.
I think the most intriguing game is Lions-Vikings.
Yeah, it is. That
but I said
right,
bigger, not
4-1.
intriguing.
Yeah, remember that word's banned.
Yeah.
You're the one who made that list. I don't know if you remember that part.
Follow your own rules.
It's true. It's true. But for Packers fans, it's Packers-Texans. There's...
Well,
I
your
mean,
own team's game
Packers,
is the biggest game of the week, Josh.
But here's the thing.
Duh.
The Packers against the Titans, I would have picked Chiefs and Niners as more intriguing to me, more interesting.
Both of those words are still banned.
I know. That's why I used them both.
Yeah, I got you. I see what you're doing a bit. I got you. Yeah, look, I mean, this is a phenomenal slate of football this weekend. Josh, you just rattled them all off, right? Packers-Texans, awesome game. Vikings-Lions for first place in the NFC North, the best division in football, awesome game. You look at what he just mentioned, the Super Bowl rematch, Chiefs and Niners, huge game for the Niners. They need a win, right? Like, I understand they're beat up, but this is a team that's a little bit floundering. Now, their division's wide open, so they're still going to win it and still make the playoffs. But how huge for momentum's sake for San Francisco, a team we viewed as the top dog undeniably in the NFC, to get a win over the undefeated Chiefs. I mean, that'd be huge for their momentum going on as we reach the midway point of the season. And then the Monday Night Football game between the Ravens and the Bucks, it's in Tampa. It's a huge game for the Bucks. And it's big for the Ravens. I mean, that division's still pretty open as Pittsburgh continues to win football games. Now, it will be Russell Wilson over Justin Fields, it sounds like, in Pittsburgh going forward. But that's a huge game, too. So this is why the NFL is king, right? Like, you're about to get to the halfway point. These games are huge for momentum. They're huge for standings. And you've got some really good teams going head-to-head this weekend, which I'm very excited about. So,
plus, in the college football world, you got Army and Navy still both trying to stay undefeated. I just had to bring that up.
Each other this weekend?
No, but
they play at the end of the year, don't they?
Yeah, and they could then play each other in their conference championship game as well. So I'm going to keep bringing Army Navy up the entire time because there is a chance.
That's fine.
Yeah, this is good for America when Army and Navy are good at football.
Yeah, that's a good take by you. That's a really good take by you. Good take by Joshy as well. The benefits of a dual Monday Night Football game. Underdog and UnderdogFantasy.com, baby. Download the Underdog app. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com. Free to sign up. And when you sign up, use promo code GOODKARMA, GOODKARMA, Good Karma at sign up. Your initial deposit will be matched up to $1,000. You will also receive a free pick on the Underdog app. It's really easy to use, too. All you do in the pick'em game is you take a look at player projections, and you select higher or lower on those projections. So, for example, I'm making this one up off the top of my head. Jordan Love, higher or lower than 225.5 passing yards. You pick higher or lower. You look; they have those for every sport. You know, we've got WNBA action tonight. We've got baseball action tonight. You can play with that. All you do is pick higher and lower. You have to select between 2 up to 8 player projections, higher and lower, in your pick'em entry. If you do an 8er, you can win up to 1,000 times your money. You can turn $1 into $1,000. You can turn $10 into $10,000 on the Underdog app and UnderdogFantasy.com. And you get a bunch of bonus cash when you sign up using the promo code GOODKARMA on Underdog. Joshy just slid over to the mic. That means he's got plays for us, and Joshy's been on a little bit of a heater. Let's take a listen.
There is a WNBA 31% profit boost. So I reached out to my sources. Pratik Patel, great teammate here of ours.
Our guy.
He watches more WNBA than I, so I tried to do this on my own, and I went over, so I figured we got to call in the big guns. We got Jonquel Jones over higher 0.5 double-doubles. We've got Breanna Stewart higher 34.5 rebounds. Points, rebounds, and assists.
Got it.
And then Courtney Williams, the same, higher 24.5 on points, rebounds, and assists.
All right, book it. That's a 3-pick entry on the Underdog app, UnderdogFantasy.com for WNBA. I believe this is Finals Game 3 tonight.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Between the Lynx and Liberty, the Minnesota Lynx and the New York Liberty. So if you're looking to get in on the action, WNBA Finals tonight, Joshy just hit you with the entry. One more time, Joshy.
Jonquel Jones, 0.5 double-doubles higher. Brianna Stewart, higher 34.5 points, rebounds, and assists. And Courtney Williams, higher 24.5 points, rebounds, and assists.
All right, because this is a team show, I will be tailing Joshy's entry on the Underdog app, UnderdogFantasy.com, by using the promo code GoodKarma at sign-up. All right, I went to Bucks Media Day. I think that was 2 weeks ago already. Milwaukee Bucks Media Day. We are a week away from the Bucks tipping off the NBA season. Next Wednesday already, the NBA season tips off. So we're going to be sprinkling in some of the conversations I had at Bucks Media Day over the course of the next week. A week from today, we will air my conversation with Bucks head coach Doc Rivers. We will air that next Wednesday. Today, I want to air maybe the most fun conversation I had, because not only is he a fun conversation, he is also known as the mayor of Milwaukee. Bobby Portis, 5 good minutes with the Bucks forward from Bucks Media Day a couple weeks ago. Take a listen with me and Bobby Portis Jr.
Here with Bobby Portis. Bobby, Taurean Prince was out of this team.
Yeah.
Who's the better trash talker, you or Taurean Prince?
I don't talk trash, do I?
Never. I've never seen it happen.
I've never talked trash. I don't know, man. I haven't seen TP in action yet, so I can't really put a tab on his trash talking yet, though. But right now, I'll give myself a slight edge.
I will, too. I will, too. History says it's you right now. As the mayor of Milwaukee, how do you welcome these new teammates to the city, whether it's the rookies or the free agent ads? How do you help them embrace your community as the mayor?
For the most part, man, you know, basketball is all about connectivity and camaraderie, right? So hanging out off the court is a big thing in the NBA for guys to build that trust. So I already had a couple of young guys over to the crib. We hung out already, watched the Thursday night football game last week. So it's been cool, man. Obviously trying to be that veteran leader on the team.
Yeah, what's that role like, right? I mean, obviously you've been in the league a while and you've been here a while now. What's it like kind of taking that leadership role? That's really neat.
Yeah, it's fun, man. It's crazy, like some of the similar questions that some of the young guys asking me at the crib. I remember myself as a first, second year guy asking Joe Kim Noah and Taj Gibson some of the similar things. Jimmy Butler, they had me over to their crib. So it's kind of cool to see it come full circle, man. And, you know, 10 years this year, which is crazy to say, but still blessed at the same time.
Time flies when you're having fun and winning championships like you did a few years ago. What's the worst advice you could give rookies? I've asked a lot of your teammates this. What's the worst advice you could give some of those young guys?
I think the worst thing that someone can, you know, give you advice on is not saving your money. I think that's one of the biggest things. You know, putting the cap and putting a limit on, you know, your spending habits monthly. You know, it definitely adds up, and it's your years in the league go by fast. So you want to, you know, be the best you can in those years and save as much as you can.
When it comes to Doc Rivers, last year was chaotic, right? It was a whirlwind with all the changes and everything going on. He gets a full offseason heading into the preseason as your head coach. You talk about connectedness and connectivity. Yeah. That's going to play a big part, I imagine.
Yeah, for sure. You know, obviously, it was a rocky year for us last year. You know, we had obviously Coach Bud leaves, and then we hire Coach Griff, and then Doc comes in the middle of the season as well. So it's a lot going on, a lot to intake, especially as a basketball player, right? You want consistency. You want, obviously, guys to accept their roles and whatever it is. But when there's a lot of things going on within, kind of hard not to lock in, but to just a hard year in general. So I think it'll be a great year for us. Doc's a great coach. I love him to death. He lets me just hoop, so I rock with Doc.
He lets me just hoop. Yeah. I like that. You are the mayor of Milwaukee. The first couple of Milwaukee is Giannis and Mariah.
Yeah.
They got married this summer.
Yeah.
Who didn't behave themselves at the Giannis and Mariah wedding?
That was me. It was definitely me. If you ask guys that was there, you ask anybody else around, I definitely enjoyed myself. You feel me? But shout out to them, though, on their beautiful marriage or whatever. But I didn't behave myself.
Yeah, we didn't expect you to either. Yeah. We didn't expect you to. Were you on that first Greece trip or just the one for the wedding? Did you go to both?
Nah, I just went on the one for the wedding for a week. It was great too, man. That was my first time ever in Greece, and have to say I'll be back.
What was it like? Bring me in. I've never been.
I think for the most part, when you're going into something, like, you don't really know what to expect, right? Coming from Arkansas, Little Rock, flying from there, and then going to Greece, it was like a total culture shock, right? Like, you go from the country to a lot of, sea water and whatever it is, and beautiful sights and nice people. Obviously, some of the people were nice, some of them were rude too. But just the vibes was just great, man. Good weather, good food, and then just to be around the guys and the team again, it was great.
Just a couple more for you. You talk about leadership. Dame is comfortable, right? He's entering year 2 here in Milwaukee. How have you seen his leadership style evolve over the last year plus he's been here?
It's been great, man. Obviously, when you don't know a guy, and obviously when you watch a guy from far, because I've been a fan of Dame for a minute, right? Like, guys in the league are fans of other guys in the league because we watch basketball. Like, if there's a game tonight and we don't have a game, I'm probably going to watch the game, right? So, you become fans of these guys, and I've seen him come from, like, someone who didn't really know, like, to take the leadership role, and then now, like, being more vocal and things like that. And I hung out with Dame over the summer. I went on a trip with him to Turks for his birthday, so that was another good time. I didn't behave myself.
I was just going to say, you probably didn't behave yourself at Turks either.
Yeah, no, I could, man. Water too blue to do that, man. Yeah, water too blue, man.
You the best partier on this team? You got to be up there.
I used to go hard, man, but I'm a lightweight now, so I wouldn't say I'm the best. Yeah, I get there too fast.
Last one for you. Who's the last person you want DJing in the locker room? Last person.
Last person, Giannis, man. Giannis.
Really?
Yeah. Him, or because Brooke has great taste in music, right?
Yeah.
That's some things people wouldn't know. He has great taste, but I would definitely say number 34 for sure.
What's on his playlist?
Oh man, there's no telling what he might play.
There you go. My conversation with Bucks forward Bobby Portis a week ahead of the Bucks tipping off the NBA season next Wednesday, man. This is the best month of sports, right? You got playoff baseball, you got the WNBA finals. Obviously, you're in the thick of college football and NFL stuff, and then at the end of the month, you get the NBA action. So, good stuff from Bobby Portis there. The full interview, if you missed any of it, you can find it on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, at ESPN Milwaukee as well. Plenty more where that came from. Got to catch up with a lot of those guys at Bucks Media Day a couple weeks ago. We'll sprinkle those in over the course of the next week or two, including our conversation with Doc Rivers, which we will play next Wednesday, October 23rd, ahead of the Bucks season opener. All right, you learn something new every day. We learned something new today. It's time now for What We Learned. And I think I got to go first today, fellas. I didn't realize how dumb I was until I learned this. So,
Been trying to tell you for a long time.
yeah. Yeah, I know. So, this weekend is the whiteout game for the Green Bay Packers. Are playing the Houston Texans. You guys are aware of that. Remember a few months ago, if you take the vintage Scals on Breast Cool button, this is the time you would play it. I was sent a care package from the Packers Pro Shop. I got my whiteout shirt, my whiteout hat, which, by the way, I stained with coffee.
I warned you about that the day you received it.
Yeah,
Shocking.
My girlfriend's a saint, though. She's getting it out. She's just about done with it, so it should be good to go for Sunday. But anyway, so this is the whiteout game against the Houston Texans. So the Packers are going to be wearing a little bit different uniforms, right? They'll be white and green, and the helmet will be white with just a green and white G and green and white stripes. I never knew they actually taped the stickers to the helmet.
No.
Like the G decal, you actually stick it to the helmet, and the stripes atop the helmet, you actually stick them to the helmet. I thought the helmets were just painted. I thought they just came done. I didn't realize that the uniform people that tailor the uniforms have to manually put the stickers on the helmet.
Did you ever play tackle football?
No, I had heart surgery when I was 3, so I never played football.
That would make, because it's very clearly decals, but even then.
But
if you watch sports, you can see people's decals getting ripped off.
And Hard Knocks, they literally always use it in their montage of the equipment guy taping it on, putting it on there. I've seen that hundreds of times. And I didn't play football in high school.
Yeah, see, I didn't realize this until the Packers posted a couple of pictures of them putting the stickers on the white helmets. Yeah.
Wow.
So is there like a perfect science to that? Do they have like a measuring stick where they know where to place it? Or is every helmet, like on some helmets, are the G's a little bit lower or higher than others?
They're very good at their jobs.
They are in the NFL.
They do this thousands of times per year. I would imagine there is some sticking and resticking if they mess it up, but a lot of times they're just eyeballing it. And
wow.
If you think about it, there's a lot of different helmets now. There's not the old bucket style that Aaron Rodgers still wears. There's all sorts of different ones. So there is like no real science they can apply to it because there's different shapes and size helmets. Obviously, different sizes of heads. So,
sure. I worked at Lids. That I do know. Yeah, I do know there's different size heads.
But like some have different designs on the side.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never, well, like I realized that about helmets, but I never realized, I just figured when you take the helmet out of the box, it's done. I figured somebody at Riddell is printing the helmet.
No.
Nope.
Wow.
If you also,
Did you know
like, if
that
you
Notre
watch, like, the
Dame
Badger.
repaints it in gold?
Yeah.
No.
Every single week.
Every week.
Yep. And there's
So,
little flakes
like
of
the
gold in the
Ohio's-
paint.
Well, wow. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like the Ohio State, they have the Buckeye, like stickers. Like those I knew they were placing on there.
Yes.
Because every player has a different amount. But I didn't realize the actual decals. Wow. So you learn something every day. Here I am, learning about NFL equipment managers and what goes into their day-to-day.
This is one of those things where I don't even know how to make fun of you. Like,
Yeah.
Of course it's sticker. You can see the raised. Like, if you watch on TV...
He went from saying, I don't know how to make fun of you, to immediately making fun of me.
Like if you just look...
Yeah, I do look.
Honestly, Strouf, this feels like one of those things you probably actually knew, but this is the first time your brain actually processed it. So you're like, oh, I'm blown away by this. But you probably actually knew this for like the last decade of your life, which makes this even more shocking. That that's how your brain processes information.
Me and my girlfriend often do this exercise where, like, maybe once a month or so, we'll just go, all right, like, let's just do a check-in. Hit me with a pro and con of how I've been recently. Her con is literally always I have short-term memory loss. And maybe that's coming into play here. I'm not diagnosed with short-term memory loss, but I have a really bad memory. Maybe that's what's coming into play here.
Could be.
Maybe we should do a pro and cons every week.
Do some team
Friday,
building.
Friday, and what we learned, I will allow you each to do a pro and con for me. Does that sound good?
Sure.
You guys can have that ready? All right, pros and cons of Strouf coming from both the producers of the show on Friday, Joshy and Tiny Hands. I feel stupid, so we're ending the show. Thanks to Bobby Portis. Thanks to Joshy. Thanks to Tiny Hands Hunter Vaughn. Thanks to intern Will for banning a word that I really enjoy to use, frisky. I can use it now, I think. We'll learn more together on Friday, I guess. I feel stupid right now. Talk to you Friday. We'll preview Packers and Texans. We will probably also, Hunter will be here. We'll mix in a little Badgers Northwestern talk as well on Friday ahead of the big football weekend. Some really good matchups in the NFL this weekend. Looking forward to week 7 in the NFL. Thanks for hanging out with us today. We will do it again on Friday beginning at 12:30. Available wherever you get your podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Wisconsin On Demand. Mr. Irrelevant is presented by Door County Distillery, locally produced, handcrafted, and award-winning spirits. I'm Alex Strouf. We'll talk to you Friday. Peace.